Good morning, and thank you to the organist, Mr. Stephen Ball. What a way to start day 2 of Ebertfest, and I'm a little caffeinated. I'm so excited to be here, to have all of you here, because we have a very special program this morning. We are going to see a movie that when I first saw it at the Cannes Film Festival, I said, we must bring this movie to Ebertfest. It is a sprawling epic. It's so full of ideas. It's visually beautiful. It's a movie by Mr. Francis Ford Coppola called Megalopolis. And to introduce the film, before I tell you who's going to introduce the film, I'm going to tell you, stay for the panel afterwards because we have Mr. Coppola appearing via satellite. He really wanted to be here today, but sandwiched in between coming from London and some other things, he's being honored Saturday night at AFI, so he couldn't be here, but he wanted to be here in person. So we're going to have a panel with Dr. Dion Metzger and Joe Crisafulli from the National Organization for Italian Americans in Film and Television. And they are going to be joining our special guest, who we love at Ebertfest, the co-president of Sony Pictures Classics, Mr. Michael Barker.
How is everybody? I can't tell you how great it is to be here, because with the craziness of the world, both in business and outside of business, to come here and know that we are still watching movies in a theater like this, it's a spiritual experience, to be honest with you. It's a religious experience. And at 9 a.m. to see you here, trust me, there is nothing like it coming from someone who's worked in the film business like 45 years or however long it's been. Today, you're really in for something. Francis Ford Coppola has made some of the best films of all time. You know them: Godfather 1, Godfather 2, The Conversation, Apocalypse Now. He is the one and only Francis Coppola. And I think if you polled the filmmakers in the world today and you ask them, who is the filmmaker that most shaped the modern American cinema? And they would tell you Francis Coppola. He's won all the Oscars, he's won the Palme d'Or, he's gotten so many honors. I remember, all of his films have always come with controversy. Stanley Kubrick was like this too. Years after the films are made and shown, now Godfather was an exception, but when the films first came out, there was controversy. There were people over here that didn't like it. There were people over here that loved it and adored it, this, that, and the other. But as time progressed, the movies became classics. No one remembers when I was 14 and I went to see 2001: A Space Odyssey, the theater was empty. You don't know that now. We don't know that now. And Francis has this kind of genius that stands the test of time. And I remember my history with him. I was like 13 and I saw a movie called You're a Big Boy Now. I had no idea what was going on the screen. I just knew, whoa, I've never seen anything like this. It's a little transgressive, it's a little this, it's a little that. I was just kind of floored by it. And then, of course, when I was in high school in Dallas and The Godfather came out, I think my friends and I saw it 12 times in the first 6 weeks it played in Dallas. We we each played different roles in the movie. We knew the entire screenplay. It's the only screenplay I know by heart to this day. And I think there's so many of us from our generation that took to that film. And then, of course, Apocalypse Now. And Apocalypse Now was a movie very controversial when it came out. Half the reviews were bad. You know, you watch it now, and it's like the ultimate kind of war film of representing that period. And I remember the first time I met Francis Coppola is I lived in New York, and I was a clerk at a company, and they were opening Apocalypse Now the very first day at the Ziegfeld Theater in New York. And I said, oh, I'm going to go to the first screening. It must have been like 10:30 in the morning. This morning, 9 a.m., there you go. And so 10:30 in the morning, I go to the Ziegfeld, and who is out in front of the theater but Francis Coppola? And I'm like, wow, I got to say hello to this guy, you know. And I was in my early 20s. I said, okay. I went up to him and I said, hello. How are you? He looked very focused. He said, I'm good, I'm good. I'm a little nervous. I said, what are you nervous about? You made this movie. It took you years. It's here. People are standing in line to come in. He said, well, I haven't decided exactly how to end it yet. I said, what? He said, yeah, I'm going to watch today with the audience because I don't know if the credits should come up at the end or what I should do with the fire and this and that and the other. And so I went in, and the ending that you know, the last like minute or whatever, is with the credits coming up, is not the ending I saw in 1989. It's a little more thoughtful. So you realize this guy is always changing and always thinking. And this is one of those films that he started working on 30 years ago. He was talking about this film. And the other thing I have to tell you about Francis, he's one of the most generous human beings in the film business I've ever met. He has always followed my business partner, Tom Bernard, and me throughout our career, has always been there to support our films. When the DGA gave us an annual honor that they never gave to a distributor, he called them up and said, I want to come to New York. I want to give it to them. It was to me and Tom and Marcy. And so he's always been a very generous, loving guy. And also you can tell when you hear from him, he's very loving with his family. His wife was incredible. We released the film, Paris Can Wait, and I toured the country with her. She was a remarkable human being.
And a remarkable
Photographer and just remarkable. Of course, we know about his daughter and his son and all that. But Megalopolis is his magnum opus. You are seeing it the way it should be seen. It was originally released in IMAX all over the world. And of course, the film had like a 10-minute standing ovation in Cannes. The film is a Roman epic set in modern times. And you need to know, this is how you have to watch this film. You have to let it happen to you, as if you're not necessarily sticking to any rules. I've been reading a lot about Shakespeare lately, and I think when you see a great Shakespearean play, and you've got these big tragic characters over here, and you've got these crazy, foolish characters over here, and how does he put it together in one play? It doesn't make a lot of sense. And from my reading recently on Shakespeare, when those plays came out, Hamlet was not so much of a success, by the way. And it's different now, of course. But the point is, this film is like that. And, you know, you have to know that every time out of the box, Francis is recreating the cinema. And that kind of greatness does not come without controversy. Because Francis is not just a filmmaker, he's a visionary, and he's a great philosopher. So let it happen to you. Admire the special effects. Admire what he does. Some of the crazy characters. Just kind of let it all happen. And it is, as I remember when Chaz saw it, and there were people that were naysayers, and she was like, are these people out of their minds? And I also remember Manola Dargis with the New York Times. She came out of there, and she and I had coffee, and she said to me, which I've never heard her say, because she's a very critical person, you know, Michael, he's probably the best director of them all. He really is. So I think it's so great that he's going to be with us at the end of the screening. I told him all about Ebertfest. I told him about you all, and he said, he told his assistant, I want to do that no matter what. I don't care if it's in the middle of the night. I want to do it, whether it's Zoom or show up or whatever. And so it's great that he's going to be with us afterwards. And I'm sorry I talked too long, but I hope you enjoy the movie.
And I have one fun fact about Francis Ford Coppola. The reason I always say all three names, his middle name Ford, he was named after Henry Ford, and on Saturday, he's going to be, after getting a big award in AFI in Los Angeles, Saturday night, he's flying to Detroit to go to the Henry Ford Foundation to be honored there. So that's why I call him Francis Ford Coppola. Enjoy the movie.